I'm back and I filled this one in, and this one I'm not filling in. I went ahead and I did my 3 millimeters, but I'm going to try to do something and see if I can actually create a mistake so that you can see what it is that I'm really trying to express with this whole tutorial on how you really drill out the hole is what's going to give you the effect that I'm trying to express to you, to where it looks like the UV gel isn't sitting on top of the eye. It goes up underneath that lip, and then it looks more like a lens. At least that's what I think, and that's what I wanted to capture. Okay. As far as your paints go, you can use any kind of acrylic metallic paints. I find the metallics are really basically the best because you get a lot of sparkle, iridescent colors and everything. Any kind of paints, but just whatever you use, just make sure that it can take the heat in the oven. And the way that I feel about the paints, I will try anything. You know, don't just stick to acrylics. I mean, I go to the store, if I find something, like I picked up this and it's precious metal, and I just love the color, I love the sparkle, and I made some eyes out of this and I stuck it in the oven and I was fine. It didn't do anything. So, I mean, really anything, but this was $8.95 for this bottle, but that's I'm gonna have that forever. Okay, now I'm going to also express this to you. When you do the pupil, I found that a mistake can happen in the pupil, is that when you use just black acrylic paint on top of, let's say, your metallic acrylic paint, when you dot it, when it dries, it's going to look like you're good. When you go and you put your UV gel on and you put it in the oven, for some reason, I think that heat does something to that acrylic. And what I've seen with it is that the metallic actually is like, it almost looks like there's not enough of a heaviness of a paint for a pupil to be over that metallic. So what I did was I went back in there and I just experimented, and I thought, well, maybe if I just keep giving it several coats, it seemed to me like the pupil would shift. I don't know, something to do with the metallics, and I can't explain the answer to it. So here's what I did. Now, I don't even have black, but I use this, and it's a maroon, because I really don't like using black because our pupils aren't black. And I found that this maroon is exactly what I'm wanting for it, as in an eye. Acrylic enamels. That was the correction to the whole thing. And it does take heat, so no problem with the enamels. Okay. Instead of using my acrylics, I'm going to use something that these are really one of my favorites. And they are called H2O Shimmering Twilight Water-Based Paints. I don't know, I just love these. When I first purchased them, when I opened it up, I thought I got a bad set because they're hard. But what you do is you spray some water on it. I have had just one set of these, and I think you get, I don't know if it's 10 or 12. I've had them for a long time, and what you do is when you spray the water, you know, you just kind of let it set, and then you just work it, and then I just get the mica color that I want, and I put it in the eye. I don't know, I just love the colors. I love the way it goes on. I can't say anything really wrong with them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use these, and I'm going to do one eye that we're going to make all different colors. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my paint set up and sprayed with some water, and I'm going to do the first one with the multicolors. Okay everyone, I have my paints all ready, and I have brought the camera up as close as I can so that you can see what I'm doing inside of the eye. Now the thing that I wanted to share with you before I get into the painting part of it, since we're up so close, this is the part that I want to show you. I want to see if I can create this mistake. This one here has been drilled out, and I have made the lip the way that I explained it to you in the tutorial. This one has not. Now all I've done is I've taken my little ball drill and I've just drilled straight down in it. I did not drill out underneath the lip. So I'm going to see if I can show you on camera what this looks like when you don't drill out the lip underneath the iris. Okay, this one here, remember I said I went too deep and I filled it in with some epoxy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start this one. And let's go with a little bit of blue. I'm going to just tilt it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little dauber here, and I'm just going to touch the side. Now I'm going to take my next color. Now I don't want a whole lot of water on this, because if I have a lot of water, it's going to make it's going to all mix and get cloudy. So I have to be a little bit careful with that. Now I'm going to take it and I'm just going to go right next to it. And I'm also just overlapping that a little bit. And really, when you do this, it's always best to do your pair and do one as each step that you do it. Do the same as the other one. Don't wait till you get all done and then go to the next one. At least for me anyways, I found that when I do one step and then the other on the other eye, I did a lot better and I got a better matching eye. That one wants to slip out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take some green here. See how that paint gets? Look. See how that mica in it? Or the pearl or whatever that stuff is? Okay. Now I'm going to put that right next to the color I just put on. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some blue. And I'm going to dab that right next to it. Now I still have some more to dab. Okay, now I'm going to go back with this color. Okay, and I've got one more color to go, and I'm going to put some yellow in it. Let me look at that one more time. You know, no, I am going to put the purple. And I'm going to dab that one more spot. Okay, now I think what I did, and I'm going to see if I can correct it. I think I can, because it's always good that you see the mistakes. And I got just a little bit too much. Oops. Too much on. Am I in the camera? Okay. I'm going to kind of just absorb it. Yeah. Let's see, where am I at? It ran a little bit more than I wanted it to, but that's okay, because you can see that I'm not perfect every time I do something. So we're going to see what this is going to look like anyways. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let that dry. Now, if you get a little bit of paint on the side, when that dries, you can go back and you can just buff it, or you can just take just a little bit of water, because the Rust-Oleum wipes off really nice. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do something a little bit different with this one. I'm going to just take some green. Just making sure that you get all underneath that lip. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's give it, let's see, kind of like a, maybe yellow in the center. Okay, and we're in there. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing the paint up to the sides a little bit. See, this is what I mean. This is the creative part. And then, you know, I'm going to do something else too. But I don't seem to have my paint sitting next to me. Hold on, you guys, I'm going to go get it. This is what I wanted. I'm going to put a little bit of pearl right in the center. And let me squeeze some of this out because this is getting kind of thick on me. I've had it forever. Let's see if I have a, let me do my little smaller one. Okay, I'm going to take my pearl and I'm dabbing it into a little smaller one. Oh no, it seems like it's still kind of thick on me. We'll see. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go right around where the pupil would be. And I don't know if I can get this in the camera. Just experimenting here, you guys. Okay, I'm going to try something else too. As soon as I can find something. Let's see if this will work. I'm just trying to bring it to where that green, let me push that down in there a little bit more, so that the green, the dark green will come through a little bit more instead of having a blob of the pearl that I've just put on there. Okay. I need to straighten this one up. This was made just for the tutorial. I would have made it better, but okay. Alright, now I'm not going to be too fancy with the smaller ones because remember when I said the smaller ones you're going to really go for more of an illusion than you are the bigger ones because they're so small. So I'm going to just go ahead, let's take some green, and I'm going to put it in the one that I say is good and that I captured. I've got just a little bit too much. Just want to take some out. See, they're so small. Okay, now I'm going to take the yellow. Now, here's a little, I don't know if you want to call it a tip or what, something that I found out playing with the acrylics and the metallics. Okay, let me get this dabbed. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same color on this one. Okay, what I found with the acrylics is as you're putting it into your iris, and if you're playing around with it, it's, I don't know, sometimes it starts drying on me and it can get a little bit thick inside. I found that if your paints are starting to do that, to me it caused a little problem. I want my paints, excuse me, I want my paints to go on smooth, because when that paint gets a little bit too thick in there, what happens is that when you put your UV gel on it, it really magnifies that unevenness with the paint, and it really looks globby. I don't know if I'm explaining that to where you can understand it. Really, it's just until you see it. Okay. Same color on the other one. And this is the one that I say is going to give me the effect that I didn't want. Okay, I'm going to quickly put a little bit of the yellow. Okay, and I have that. See how much the difference in the colors? When you drill that out, you see how you got to stay with lighter colors for the smaller eyes. This one wasn't drilled out as much, but I don't have it drilled out underneath the lip either. Okay, now I'm going to take my maroon enamel. And let's see. I usually use my stylus. That's from my UV. I'm going to go ahead and dot this one and then this one. And I think I could dot this one. I'm going to hope that I'm going to be in the center. But if not, you got the basics. It's, you know, it's all practice. Okay, I'm going to dot this one first. And remember, smaller. Smaller than what you think. Okay, I'm going to kind of like hold it up towards me, or tilt it towards me. You got to get the feel of the UV gel and your paints, because when that UV gel is on it, it magnifies it, so it's going to look a lot larger. And I want to make sure that I've got enough of that enamel on there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let that go. And now I'm going to do this one. I'm going to dot that one. Well, I gotta pull this up, you guys. You might not see this one, but these are so tiny. Okay, let me get some paint. It's not coming off. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now that is going to be way too big. But that's okay, because you get to see the mistake. I need something even smaller. Let me try this. Now, you know, it's going to depend on you. You might want a big pupil like that, but it's not what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dot this one now. There. Okay, now the enamel paint, even though that little dot, I have to let that dry because I don't want to put my UV gel on top of that wet paint. So when this dries, we are just about finished with this tutorial. Okay, we're back and the paint is dried. And as I was looking at it, I want to point a few things out that I see, and we're going to see if my opinion or what it is that I'm seeing is really correct, because I'm not always sure. As I was looking at it off camera, this one here, I want to point this one out. Remember that this was the one that I drilled out, but I didn't drill out the lip. This one was, I did drill down, but I drilled out the lip. Now it's got the same two colors. One looks darker and one looks lighter. When you drill out that lip around the iris, it comes up around, actually around the eye. So it's going to give you some shadow. So this is what I want to point out, especially when you're doing the small eyes. You're going to really need to put more highlight in this one, but I'm not going to put it in because I want you to see what it looks like when you don't put the highlights in on a smaller eye. Now, this one here, when I was looking on it off camera, now this would be one that would be like really an experiment for me. For some reason, I'm feeling like it needs a little bit of highlight. But with the larger eye, sometimes you can really be surprised when you put the UV gel on it. It just makes it pop. So I'm going to let that go, and we're going to see what this looks like. But I feel like maybe a little bit more highlight. This one here, I think I'm good. So we'll just see. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my magic gloss, and I've heard many stories about people using this and they have a horrible time with it. And I'm so sorry to hear that, because I have not had really hardly any problems with it. People say that they get a lot of air bubbles and that. I don't get any. I can't say I don't ever get any. I might get one. And all I do is I take like a little needle and I just pull it out. You have to pull it out. It's not like I can always pop it, but I've tried other ones and I always come back to this one. It works so well for me. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop some down. Now remember, this was the eye that I said I didn't make the lip. So I'm going to do that one last. And all I do is I just stick my big stylus in there, and I always drop it straight down. Let the UV gel do the work. That's the way I kind of see it. Because it'll spread out on its own. You just have to be slow with it. See, it's spreading out. But I want more of a lens on top. See if I can get it. But I don't want to go over that white. There. I'm going to try to bring that up to the camera so you can see it. See, that little spot right in here that is dark, I would put maybe just a little bit of highlight in there, but you can also look at it this way. When you put the eye in your clay, you can turn your eye so that the eyelid will go over that part so you won't really see it. And let's do this one. To me, the highlight is very important. Oops, I almost didn't make it. But the most important part for me, and it was the part that I wanted to capture, because all that drilling out that I did to make that lip, I don't want the UV gel to go over the white. Because to me, that was the look that I was seeing in my own work as well as everybody else's work. It just looked like a piece, like a chunk of glass or a chunk of something that was sitting on top of the eye. Okay, now I am just going to add just a hair more to this one. Because sometimes as it settles, you'll see that you might have to go back and add some. Okay, now these smaller ones, you want just a small amount, and I'm going straight down again. Now you might not see this on the camera, but as I'm dropping it, but it's just the way it is. Now I'm hoping I didn't get too much. Okay, now remember too, I forgot to point that out. Remember when I said that black pupil? I said I knew it was going to be too big. That was the mistake I wanted you to see. Now this pupil on the other one should be the right size. But I'm not going to get that look that I'm talking about. I need to put just a little bit more. It's not quite raised up enough. Now many of you might not, see any difference to it or anything, but it's just a matter of opinion and a matter of sight. And it's just what I saw. Okay, now, all right. I'm going to just bring it up close, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it under the UV gel, the UV light, so I can cure it, and I can tip it to the side because I want you to see this one. Okay, that's what it looks like. But this pupil here is too big for me. I would just put a hair more highlight in that one, And you know, if you turn it around, you see how, I mean, it just all depends on how the light hits it. Okay, I'm going to go and cure this with the light, and I'll be right back, and I'm going to show you this one. Okay, everybody, I'm just finished curing it, but I'm not even quite sure if I let it stay under there, but I want to finish up this tutorial. I'm going to be able to turn it. Okay, we're going to do a top view. And like I said, you know, you're going to, turning it all around, you're going to get different looks to it. So on camera, it's going to look a little bit different. Now this, remember this one? See, that pupil to me is just too deep. Now, this was the one that I didn't drill the lip out, and I'm going to see if you can see it. I'm going to turn it sideways, and you'll start seeing the UV gel. Okay, see the ridge? That's the UV gel. It's not part of the eye. And that's the part that I didn't want to capture anymore. Now, these eyes are basically experimental eyes. They are not any eyes that I would put in my doll. But I just wanted to show you, and I'm going to point out some other things, is that when you do the Rust-Oleum, okay, remember, the more coats that you put on, the better it is, and I'm going to show you why, okay? Now, of course, that's going to be in the back of the eye, which that's pretty much okay, but I see some of it is coming up over it. So really, I would give this a lot more coats than what I did, but I was doing it in a hurry for the tutorial. Now, here's another one. Right in here. The more coats of the Rust-Oleum you put on, the better it is, because it actually feels like glass. That's the feeling that you want to capture. Okay, now the other eyes, okay? You see how you don't see the lens over the white? That's because that UV gel is going up underneath that lip. And it's giving the UV gel the way to make a lens. See the difference here? Now, the way that this is really showing, it looks like the lens. Okay, there. See how here the big one almost looks like it's flat, but it has to do with the light reflection on it. But you see the difference between the two small ones right there? It's just, I just really did not like this effect at all. And it's taken me many years. I think it's been about 3, almost 4 years. I haven't constantly played with it for that long, but this time I just really, I guess you could basically say I, locked myself in and, journaled everything that I was doing, and then figured out it was the lip to the eye. But there you have it. Now I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to show you some experiments that I did do. Now remember, there are faults with these. And I think I might have just dropped one. Okay, I'm just going to kind of pick them up. But I have one here that I want to show you when you use the acrylic black paint over the metallic. This green one, to me, is good as far as the color, highlights, and everything. And that is a 8mm eye. But you see where my mistake is, and they were just basically experimental eyes. So I wasn't really looking for perfection as far as this part of it, because I'd already gotten to it. I wanted to really study the iris. Now this one here, I think it turned out pretty well. I would have given it more Rust-Oleum, a lot more Rust-Oleum. But see how nice that lens is? And it doesn't look like it's sitting on top like that little one that I was showing you. I don't know, I just think it looks more like an eye lens. Let's see, get it into focus a little bit. This one here is another multicolored one. Now see, now the pupil is too big. So that's why you have to really play with that. Now, I want you to notice in the pupil, because I'm seeing it on the camera. Do you see the metallic in the black pupil? That's what happens, or what I'm finding is happening with black acrylic paint over the metallic. It wants to come through it. Even though I gave it a lot more coats, it still came through. By using the black enamels, I found that it was so much better. But I wanted to share that one with you. This one here, this was done, and I'm hoping it's going to show. This is done with the black acrylic paint for the pupil. And you see how I'm turning it. I am getting the metallic through that black. And sometimes when you put it in your doll's eye, see, like if I have the eye turned like this, you're seeing the black. But if the doll is turned just a little bit and you were taking a picture of it, do you see how it looks like it doesn't have a pupil? So that was a huge mistake that I caught and corrected it. But see how the lens is? It's really nice. Okay, this one here, let's see. What was this one? I think the only thing that I would say is that when you drill it out, it's very important that you don't go too deep and that you don't go too shallow. Now, I would say a little bit too deep on this one. But now that is with the black enamel paint. And you see how I turn it and everything? You don't see the metallic coming through that. And then this is one of my favorites, and I put this picture up on my Facebook, and it's a steampunk. And what I did was, I don't buy the giers. I just go to yard sales, or people give me their old watches because I've asked them, and I take them apart, and I enjoy it so much better getting the parts out of it. And I took this part here, and I did a black background, but I used like a gold, I don't know, I might do a tutorial on it, I don't know. But then all I did was I put the gear on it, and I love it. And the camera doesn't seem like it's showing you in the pictures. If you want to see a picture of it, it is on my Facebook fan page. And if you haven't joined, please do. You're more than welcome. I have lots of information on there. All my tutorials are on there. So by doing it this way, it shows me that it's very limited to what you can do or what you can put in it. Now here's another one. So see, you just have to really play and get familiar with what the metallics do, what it does, and where you find that you're liking where the highlights are. And sometimes the metallic, you might think that that's an air bubble, and it's not. It's just the reflection. So pay attention to that too. Because I had a friend that kept saying they had air bubbles in it, and when I looked at it, I told her, I says, no. I said, that's just the reflection. Now here's another one. Now this one was done with black acrylic. This is when I was still trying to figure out what was going on. And you can see how the metallic is coming through it. But other than that, now this is on a 3mm eye. Now see the light in it? You really want a lot of light in the much smaller ones. And I think this is just one that I was working with it. And I don't know, this one, I would either put a little bit more highlight in it or I wouldn't. To me, it's good. It can go either way. But the only thing that I just really want to point out to you is that the more coats of that Rust-Oleum that you put on it, it's really nice. And I don't have enough on these because, like I said, they were just experimentals. Okay, everybody, I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. I'd like to hear your comments about this. Did you feel like it helped you, or do you feel like it's just too much work and that you would rather go and purchase them? Whatever it is that you would like to express, I'd like to hear about it. So everybody, be creative and take this tutorial and please share it if you like. Spread it. Try your own techniques. Do something a little bit different than me. But the most important thing is just keep experimenting and practicing. Use all different kind of mediums, but always make sure that you test it out before you put it in your doll. And please always test it in your oven and see if the heat does not hurt what it is that you put into the eye. So everybody, I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye.